Good evening, everyone. Here is a short review on the book The Myth of Normal by Dr. Gabor Mate. So, actually, this book is a very big read with 497 pages or so, and you have a lot of acknowledgements also. So, to have a review on it is very tough, but still, for inspiring people to read this and know more about the trauma, illness, and healing in a toxic culture. Healing in a toxic culture is not so easy. It's not that something that we can tell a person to do very easy in this complicated world, where it's not only a genetic makeup, it's also epigenetics, and it's also those causes that keep us in the survival mode, that we feel that mostly we are not in that soul living in that body fully. So in this, actually, it starts with in the first page that the best physician is also a philosopher. And there are so many contents, like last place you want to be in the facets of trauma, then a traumatic tension, that is, there is always a war between the attachment and the authenticity, and also child's how brought up, what are the child's irreducible needs. And actually we have to be brought up in such a way that what it feels to be a human, and forcing the brain in wrong direction. This is what are brought up, or the way the parenting trauma will do to children. Rethinking abnormal, then show of hands, addiction. What is that process behind the addiction? It's very easy to tell people who are addicted to stop it, but it's very difficult when that addiction is a way that keep themselves away from the pain. Then the mind can do amazing things from madness to meaning. And also society shock absorbers women. The trauma of women has been very detailed and explained very beautifully. And there is a section of pathways to wholeness, in which 4A's, compassion, mind in the lead, and a dreadful gift, disease as a teacher. And also first to friends, we have a myth of healing, that healing is only about popping pills or making others to fix the process of life, but healing doesn't actually work there. So actually this reading, it starts as the handicapped health system. Here we have a lot of ignorance. So it is all about connecting to roots, what we as a human is, what is our values, as well as a healthy lifestyle, connecting to nature. So rootedness means returning to wholeness, and how physical and mental health is intricately interwoven. So when it comes to trauma, we all use the word trauma very very vividly or very commonly. So trauma is what? It's an inner injury, or that a lasting rupture that happens within the self. So trauma is not actually what happens to you, it is actually what happens inside you. That after effects of trauma is something that make us into a survival mode, or we choose into so many patterns and so many habits and so many ways of life, that we become close to that vulnerability or the sensitivity or being a human, so that we don't get hurt again. So trauma, actually, what does trauma do in our life? Trauma distorts our flexibility. Actually, it distorts our view to the world, and also it fosters shame, that we feel like if we show up really what we are, then we may not be accepted. So there is always a question of validation, acceptance, how the world sees us. That is very, very important for each and every human being, and that is where most of our trauma, psychosomatic diseases, actually the joy of our existence is stealed when we see ourselves in others' eyes, and that is where the root of trauma also lies. So here in this book, actually we'll find a good read, or in a very, not looking onto the contents and what I have in my mind when I tell about this book. It is very vividly, you will be taken into different facets of life, different kind of people, different places, where people of different ages are going through different trauma, and how they are responding to it, where those so many experiences of people who are sharing, like what are the trauma they have suffered. So most of them who are into addiction, they would have gone to either emotional abuse or some sexual abuse, physical abuse in their childhood, And he also explains in 1965, one survey shows that rheumatoid arthritis are mostly seen in women, and those women know who do a lot of suppression of anger and other emotions, and put others' needs before them. So emotional baggage we carry from childhood and how much we put on to the children. We always tell children that good children don't get angry. So it means that if you get angry, you are not loved, right? So we indirectly give so much messages in the way we put in forward to make our life comfortable, that also shuns the vulnerability or sensitivity of a human. So here also it very nicely they talk about authenticity and attachment. Attachment is always has its root in validation. That is, no, we wanted always like how others should see us. If I don't behave in this way, people don't accept me in that way. Whereas authenticity is what? Authenticity is actually a self or true expression that is arising from one's own needs, that is one's own maturation, as well as, no, there is an assertiveness of one space to one's own growth. Right. And also you have chapters that deals with the interconnectedness of people, human nature and needs, and also child's irreducible needs. Irreducible needs of a child is to be accepted, the connection, the sense of security they have, and also how they can express their emotions and how they can play. They can, when in each and every age we have a nature of a play, how we allow that play to happen so that they mature beautifully. This we can relate to Sigmund Freud's psychosexual stages of development, where if any of these stages are compromised, it will lead to some personality disorders in future. And in this, the author also says that it is not that neurotic people who get more of angina and heart attacks. It's more of the people who are very ambitious driven, or who have a high rate functioning engine. Okay, so he says that the people who have engine at full speed, people who have the engine playing at full speed are the people who get these kind of heart attack and all that kind of vulnerable diseases. Now, and there are many chapters. I can't go into the detail of it. It would be like you can't get into the depth of these pages, because this pages is a huge information, and it was not that I took it 1 or 2 weeks to read. I took it more than a month. Maybe I read it very little only, and I could get only that time. And another thing I would like to say and stop is about vulnerability, that is shutting down vulnerability. This is one of the most common manly character, I would say. Men, we grow up boys as to a men, and the men means lesser sensitive and less vulnerability they should have, is a kind of mentality that we bring up our children. So shutting down vulnerability actually reinforces emptiness. Okay, human beings are supposed to be vulnerable. So vulnerability, when you shut down your vulnerability, it's like disconnecting from your own life. That is, emotions is what that makes us nourishing, that makes us a human. So it is said that more vulnerable you are, more girly you are. So I have heard that when men cry, it is like they are weak. When a woman cry, it can be possible. So it is not like that. Both are vulnerable. When a man shut down his vulnerability, he can be a toxic to women also, because he is not available for a woman to listen to her, to understand her, and he is not available to him also. And nowadays we talk a lot on empowerment and things. So respect is the word that is mostly disrespected. Okay, disrespected, because on the term disrespect, we misuse people a lot. We misuse our power a lot. We treat people bad a lot. All kind of physical torture, mental torture, emotional torture, everything is getting revolved on this word respect. So respect is also misused. And there are so many topics, like when the path of healing, the author beautifully explains like how can we adopt authenticity, agency, compassion, how can we heal, how can we become aware of what is going on inside us, and then how can we heal us through the process by understanding what we are going through, seeking help. So moreover, we will be able to understand, we will be able to accept a crippled society more. We will be able to accept why people behave to us in such a way. no, we can be more compassionate to others. I think reading such books will help us know that, help us get out of that little shell we are living in, help us to understand and connect to people. Even the people, sometimes we get triggered very fast. We'll also be able to understand that they are also going through something very hard, so they are turning up this way, they are depending on us. Okay, and people are behaving to us very bad because of what they have gone through. It helps us, to support each other. Health system will grow in such and such a way, because we have a very, very crippled society growing up every day by day. And it's a very nice read to what you say. Somewhere in many pages we'll be able to connect with us. In many pages we will be able to see that hurt or inner child in us. In many ways, we'll be able to connect to people whom we hold a lot of grudges or hatred on what they are going through. Okay, what would be their trauma? So he stops this as, it all starts with waking up to what is real and authentic in and around us. What is it? Waking up to who we are and who we not. Waking up to what our bodies are expressing and what our minds are suppressing. So it's a very good read on psychosomatic diseases with all the survey and how different kind of diseases show up in the body. Okay, from the malignancy to the milder diseases, how it shows up in the body. What is it trying to convey? Disease as a dreadful gift. When we get totally disconnected with the body because of our emotional suppression, and we wanted all that we are looking as validation for the survival, then a body starts to speak for us like, you are worthy for what you are, but you are looking for others' validation. So that is the moment that a body tries to express what our minds are suppressing, waking up to a wound and a gift, waking up to what will no longer tolerate and what we can now accept. Waking up to myths that bind us, interconnections. We are blessed with momentous opportunity, shedding toxic myth of disconnection from ourselves, from one another, and from the planet. We can bring what is normal, what is natural. Actually, this myth of normal itself, society, conditioning of society has put in a lot of normal. Actually, normal is something natural. Normal is something that differs from each other. Normal is something that mine belongs to me and yours belongs to you. And more we face ourselves, we'll be able to face others. We will be able to face others to the depth of what we have faced in ourselves. So it is a task for ages, one that can redeem the past, inspire the present, point to a brighter and healthier future. It is our most daunting challenge and greatest possibility. Yes, of course, it is the greatest possibility, because this is where the health and well-being, what we are really talking of from heart. It's not for making money, but what we are really talking of, and the joy of life that we really wish to live, lies behind accepting our authenticity and connecting to the natural essence of life. I recommend everybody to read this book. It would be a very nice read, and it would change your perspectives. It would broaden your perspective to how to see health. It's not no pain is about popping pills and getting better. No, it's all about healing self. When you heal yourself, when you face the demons inside you, you will be able to face the demons and shadow inside the other person also. Thank you so much. Have a good reading.